No.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
That line didn't just open a movie, it opened a window into a world of crime, loyalty, and betrayal that audiences had never seen so raw and real. When Goodfellas hit theaters in 1990, Martin Scorsese shattered the romantic myths of mob life. No honor codes, no godfathers in tuxedos, just coke-fueled chaos, backroom hits, and street-level survival. It was slick, it was brutal, and it was true. Based on Nicholas Pileggi's explosive book Wise Guy, the film pulled its characters straight from FBI files. These weren't just actors, they were playing people who actually lived these stories, and some of them were even closer to the real thing than you'd ever guess. One played a mobster on screen and was later convicted of 8 murders in real life. Another wasn't even an actor. He was the real federal agent who flipped Henry Hill. So let's rewind the film and pull back the curtain. These are 10 of the strangest, darkest, and most unbelievable secrets behind Goodfellas. And stay with us, because the bonus fact at the end, it's the one Henry Hill never saw coming. Number 1. In the iconic bar scene where Henry introduces his crew, Jimmy 2 Times, Johnny Roastbeef, Fat Andy, you probably didn't blink twice. But behind the name Fat Andy was a man far more dangerous than any script could imagine. Actor Louis Ippolito wasn't just playing tough. He was a retired NYPD detective whose family tree was riddled with mob connections. His father, uncle, and cousin were all tied to organized crime. But it didn't stop there. 15 years after Goodfellas premiered, Ippolito and his partner were arrested for moonlighting as hitmen. Their crimes? Bribery, racketeering, extortion, and 8 murders carried out while they wore the badge. They became known as the Mafia Cops. And yes, Ippolito played a mobster in Goodfellas years before anyone realized he was one in real life. Number 2. Frank Severo played Frankie Carbone in Goodfellas, the quiet, slick-haired mobster who ends up frozen in a meat truck. But years after the film's release, Severo made headlines again for something no one saw coming. He filed a $250 million lawsuit against The Simpsons, claiming the animated character Louie was based on him. Same hairstyle, same mob vibe, same clipped voice. According to Severo, the show's writers lived next door to him in 1989, just before Goodfellas dropped, and copied his look and mannerisms without permission. The case stirred headlines, but the court wasn't convinced. The lawsuit was dismissed. Still, fans have long noticed the resemblance. A frozen mobster turned cartoon inspiration, only in the strange world where Hollywood meets the mafia. Number 3. Goodfellas is a film built on blood, betrayal, and brutal loyalty. But one of its warmest moments came from Martin Scorsese's real-life mother, Catherine. In the famous late-night dinner scene, just after a murder, Tommy brings the crew home for pasta. Catherine plays his chatty, kind-hearted mother, offering spaghetti and proudly showing off a painting of a man and 2 dogs.
Yeah, but get yourself a girl so you could settle down.
Her timing, her warmth, her realness, it was unforgettable. What most people don't know is that her husband, Charles Scorsese, was in the film too. He appears during the jailhouse cooking scene, stirring the sauce and famously scolding a fellow inmate. Too many onions.
Don't put too many onions in the sauce.
I didn't put too much onions in.
These weren't just cameos. They added real flavor to the film. Scorsese once said casting his parents wasn't just about sentiment. They grounded the film, he explained. They made it human. Number 4. It's one of the softer moments in Goodfellas. Paulie visits Karen and Henry's house, leans in to greet their young daughter, and she shyly turns away. It's tender, almost forgettable, unless you know who that little girl really is. That's Stella Kaidle, the real-life daughter of Lorraine Bracco, who plays Karen Hill, and legendary actor Harvey Keitel. Her brief appearance wasn't just a family cameo. It was a quiet nod to the fact that Goodfellas wasn't just a film about family. It was made by one. Scorsese's decision to cast family members, both his own and his actors, added layers of realism you can't fake. Blink and you'll miss it. But for a few seconds, Hollywood royalty stood in the middle of a mob masterpiece. Number 5. In the final act of Goodfellas, Henry Hill and his wife sit down with a no-nonsense federal agent who explains the rules of witness protection. What most people don't realize? That wasn't an actor. That man was Edward Macdonald, the real-life U.S. attorney who helped bring down the Lucchese crime family and placed Hill into protection. Scorsese had been scouting Macdonald's office as a possible filming location, but after hearing him speak, he asked, "Would you be willing to play yourself?" Macdonald said yes, screen tested, and nailed it. So when you watch that scene, scene, you're not just seeing a performance. You're watching the actual man who flipped Henry Hill recreate the moment that changed mob history forever. Number 6. Goodfellas wasn't just a mob movie, it was a profanity powerhouse. The film drops the F word 296 times, averaging more than 2 bombs per minute. At the time, it was one of the most expletive-laden movies ever released. Nearly half of those came from one man, Joe Pesci. His portrayal of the unhinged Tommy DeVito wasn't just intense, it was volcanic. When Pesci's mother finally saw the movie, she had just one question: did you really have to curse that much? And Pesci? Legend has it, he answered with another F-bomb. Because for Tommy, violence and vulgarity weren't props, they were personality. And that's exactly what made him unforgettable. Number 7. It's the most quoted scene in Goodfellas. Tommy turns cold and asks, "Funny how? Funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you."
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you? I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you?
But what most viewers don't know is that it was inspired by something Joe Pesci experienced for real. As a young waiter, Pesci once told a real mobster he was funny, and the guy didn't laugh. In fact, he nearly exploded. That chilling tension stuck with Pesci for years. When he brought the story to Scorsese, the director told him and Ray Liotta to improvise the entire exchange. The rest of the cast had no idea what was coming. Their nervous laughs, their frozen faces, that wasn't acting, that was real. What started as a joke turned into a moment of pure cinematic electricity. A mix of fear, confusion, and control, all captured in one of the most unforgettable scenes in film history. Number 8. Joe Pesci's Tommy DeVito was fast-talking, unstable, and terrifying. But the real man he was based on, Thomas Two-Gun Tommy DeSimone, was even more dangerous. In real life, DeSimone stood 6'2", weighed over 200 pounds, and had a reputation for explosive violence. He once pistol-whipped a man just for not moving fast enough. He didn't just kill, he did it with zero hesitation. In the film, Tommy gets whacked for killing a made man. But the truth? Far murkier. In 1979, DeSimone disappeared without a word. Nobody, no evidence, just rumors. Some say he was tortured first, others say he was buried in concrete. His fate remains one of the mafia's great unsolved mysteries, and that cold, open ending only adds to the legend of a man too violent to last and too feared to forget. Number 9. Henry Hill helped inspire one of the greatest crime films of all time, and he was paid handsomely for it. Between the book and the film, he earned around $550,000. Not bad for a guy in hiding. But in his prime, Hill was making up to $40,000 a week through drug deals, hijackings, and loan sharking. That's mob money. Fast, dirty, and gone just as quickly. Hill admitted he blew almost everything on cocaine, gambling, and parties that never ended. He once said his life became a blur of paranoia, late nights, and poor decisions. "I had everything," he told one interviewer, "and I flushed it down the toilet." For a man who once ruled the streets, his downfall wasn't a bullet, it was his own reflection. And that, he said, was the hardest part. Number 10. At the end of Goodfellas, Henry Hill enters witness protection, his glamorous mob life reduced to takeout dinners and suburban boredom. But in real life, Hill couldn't stay quiet. He gave interviews, went on talk shows, even signed autographs. He broke nearly every rule meant to keep him alive. Eventually, the government had enough and dropped him from the program entirely. Still, the mob never came for him. No revenge, no mysterious accident, no sudden disappearance. Instead, Henry Hill outlived the danger and died in 2012 of heart failure at the age of 69. For a man who helped bring down one of the most feared crime families in America, that kind of ending doesn't just seem unlikely, it feels impossible. Bonus fact: Henry Hill should have died a dozen times. He flipped on the Lucchese crime family, helped lock up over 50 mobsters, and spent decades openly talking about it. In a 2010 interview, Hill sounded almost bewildered by his own survival. "It's surreal," he said. "I never thought I'd reach this age. I figured I'd be found in a trunk somewhere." His only explanation? "There's nobody left to kill me." It's haunting. Not just because he lived, but because he was alone in that survival. Everyone else from his world, gone, killed, buried, forgotten. In the end, Henry Hill didn't outrun the mob, he outlived it. And maybe that was the strangest twist of all. Every one of those facts adds another layer to the legacy of this film. And that last one, it's the kind of twist real life writes better than any screenplay. But now we want to hear from you. Did we miss any weird, wild, or hidden facts about Goodfellas that deserve a spot on this list? Drop your favorite piece of trivia in the comments below, and let's see how many more secrets this classic movie is still hiding. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next cinematic story worth telling. Thanks for watching, and remember, the mob may stay silent, but the movies, they always talk.